Appreciate it. Thanks for the panel staying, and really appreciate your service to our country. I'd like to address this question to all the witnesses. I know we've touched upon it, but maybe a little more detail. A 34-page document signed by General McChrystal and Ambassador Eikenberry outlines an integrated civilian-military plan which contains 11 counterinsurgency transformative effects. Does the plan President Obama articulated last night execute these worthy goals, such as improving population security and reducing insurgent capability while advancing governance?
Yes, it does. And the difference is that it is focused, our strategy is focused very heavily, particularly from the U.S. standpoint, on the southern and eastern parts of Afghanistan.
Yes, and we've taken significant steps to actually accomplish the integrated civilian-military approach that both General McChrystal and Ambassador Eikenberry have proposed. For example, we've beefed up the embassy in Kabul. We have assigned different responsibilities so that, for example, there's one ambassador there working with Ambassador Eikenberry who's responsible for coordinating aid. There's a lot of work that brings together our military and civilian personnel. I've met with a group of the teams that were out in the field when I was there for the inauguration, and heard about how well they're coordinating and the fact that we're embedding civilians with our military units. So we're on the way to trying to implement exactly that kind of integrated strategy. If I can just say briefly, I was in Helmand with the Marines right after their operation in July, and Secretary Clinton has said this, and she has seen this. I watched our civilians from the State Department literally go in right behind the fight, first of all. Secondly, I've seen it in Iraq, I see it in Afghanistan. The multiplier that those civilians are, I'm not sure what the right number is, but one civilian who can make a difference is just hugely impactful in terms of the overall strategy. I don't know if it's a company of Marines or a battalion, but I mean, in an area of expertise that makes a difference, agriculture, et cetera. So I just can't say enough about the shift and the focus and the difference that it's making in this strategy, and it needs to continue to do so. Thank you. One last question. Is President Obama's is this a specific plan, counterinsurgency plan outlined by General McChrystal in August?
I think it's fair to say that, that the assessment that General McChrystal submitted in August was the basis of the entire dialogue that we've had for the last 3.5 months. And what we have been working on is how do we, the assessment was based on his view of what he was being asked to do by the President's decisions in March. What troubled me fairly early on was that those decisions were being interpreted fairly broadly as full-scale nation building and creating a strong central government in Afghanistan, neither of which was our intent, nor was it our ability to do in any reasonable time frame and at any reasonable cost. And so a good part of the debate and the discussion we've had is how do we focus that, how do we narrow the mission so that we are focused on selective capacity building in the government, capacity building that's essential to our success in the transition of security responsibility, and ultimately the defeat of al-Qaeda. How do we protect the population? What populations do we need to protect? How much of the country do we need to do that in? And so on. And so that was a good part of the discussion, but I would say that the starting point was his assessment.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yield back the balance of my time.